Hello, everyone, and welcome to another odd-shaped panel. It's beginning to look a lot like holidays. I'm not going to get into specifics, but welcome to Odd-Shaped Panel. Tonight we're going to go over some of our favorite holiday episodes of television and movies. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can chat along and just let us know if you want to call in, and we'll make it happen.
Also, it's Ashley's birthday.
It is Ashley's birthday. Co-host of BFF and fan favorite of Fan Friction. Say that 10 times fast. But we'll be having them up next almost instantaneously, like we prepared it ahead of time.
Is that it?
That's it. Why don't we get into this thing? Ready? You don't get any. Thank you. Why did the music teacher need a ladder?
Why?
To get to the high notes.
Oh. Christmas crackers.
The lovely and talented Ashley, whose birthday it is tonight, get ready to hear that a lot. She asked us a question, and she said, what is the best holiday-themed TV episode?
My favorite one is the very first Futurama Christmas episode, an Xmas story. And what I really love about that one is, Fry coming from our time period, he has all of our ideas about what makes Christmas, and in the year 3000, all of those things have changed and evolved, and so, he's having, this culture shock.
Oh boy, it's Santa! Oh, oh.
Heartwarming story, and I love the evil robot Santa Claus voiced by John Goodman in that particular episode. And at the very end, there's even a little nod to a very famous Christmas story, The Gift of the Magi, where and just a fun little episode. Futurama's a great show, and they had a lot of great Christmas episodes, but I really enjoyed that one for the culture shock, and then also the little references to other Christmas stories.
Have to be season 1, episode 2, Christmas with the Joker from Batman the Animated Series.
That one's a good one.
Because, there's just so much fun in that episode, and to see, it's weird how Mark Hamill and Christmas are just, connected, because that's the introduction of the Joker in the animated series, and then the Trickster is always on the Christmas episodes of The Flash. So I don't know what it is about it, but that's my favorite. There's a rocket Christmas tree in it. That's all you need. What about you, Joe?
I actually am also going animated. Bob's Burgers has some fantastic seasonal episodes, but the Christmas episode wherein Bob's uncle passes away and they find that quote unquote homeless guy living in his uncle's storage unit, and then it turns into this huge thing where they have the guy come stay with them until Christmas. He builds set designs in their window, which attracts business, so they can get the kids Christmas present, all sorts of fun stuff. But it builds up. At first it's just kind of oh, well, this is quirky and weird, and then the guy's yeah, I used to be a mannequin and I was married to another mannequin and I can't find her anymore, we're separated, etc., etc. And you're just kind of this is taking a very strange turn.
Oh! The two that I narrowed it down to is, I think the episode is called Christmas Party from The Office.
Nice.
It's the one with the gift swap, Michael changes the rule.
Okay, Meredith is up first. Here's the deal. You can either pick a new gift, or you can steal somebody else's gift they've already gotten, like the oven mitt.
The gift swap with the iPod and stuff. And Jim gets the teapot that he put a whole lot of thought into for.
I bought that specifically for Pam.
Pam, and she ends up trading it for the iPod and then changing her mind after that. But she didn't realize that it was filled with presents. And I loved when I got to the end of the show how they tied in the moment with the note that he took away. I don't want to like spoil it too much, but it like ties back into that episode, and it's super like heartfelt and wonderful, and I loved everything about it. My second choice is from How I Met Your Mother, and it's the How Lily Stole Christmas episode. That's it's basically like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but Lily gets into an argument with Ted because he calls her a Grinch, but he didn't say Grinch, is like the joke of the show. So she ends up like hiding all the Christmas decorations and stuff because they usually deck out the whole place. But like many How I Met Your Mother episodes, it's got a really like beautiful ending, and it's super well written, and I love all those characters. And to me, like when I think of Christmas, that's definitely one of the ones that comes to mind.
Like the first Christmas episode of Community is really good, where
Is it the claymation one?
no, not the claymation one. It's where Shirley is like obsessed with like Christmas going her way, and like she wants it to be a certain way, and then having to learn that, you know, not everybody celebrates the holiday the same way, and you have to kind of like, not everybody has like the same level of faith, so you can't like prescribe that onto other people. You have to let people celebrate in their own way.
I'm going with Community, and it's the Abed's, the stop motion episode.
I get it. The meaning of Christmas is the idea that Christmas has meaning, and it can mean whatever we want. For me, it used to mean being with my mom. Now it means being with you guys.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It's also amazing because stop motion, if you know anything about it, there's a lot of work that goes into it just for like a few seconds. And it was like done in Rankin Bass style, and everybody was animated accordingly. I mean, a lot of them were hilarious. Like Pierce was a bear, and Shirley was a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's Brit-A-Bot.
Yeah, I have a lot of appreciation for stop motion animation in general. That stuff is crazy what they put into it. It's nuts. It's an immense amount of work, and it's so awesome to see them doing stuff like that on a show like Community, and then to see like Leica doing awesome stop motion. I totally encourage all of that. So definitely cool choice.
Rankin and Bass's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, because that's really all I've got for that. It's sort of like a special episode. They have a series of those, so I'm technically stealing it and saying that that's sort of a series, and I'll go with that. Those animated things are fantastic.
You probably would think I'd pick something like this, because everybody should know my outrageous love for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So, A Very Sunny Christmas is my favourite Christmas themed episode of TV, because it's a double episode, so it's like 45 minutes long, compared to, usual like 22. But basically you've got Dennis and Dee getting back on Frank, who basically is sort of Scrooge in this thing. It's all, he plays that sort of role where he has to sort of go through the episode sort of becoming a good man again, which is all ridiculous and just as wonderfully manipulative as you'd want It's Always Sunny to be. Then you've got Mac and Charlie doing their own thing, realising that their childhood Christmases were actually horrible when they thought they were excellent, because Mac's family, of course, are criminals. Mac's family would break into people's houses and steal their presents, pretending it was their own Christmas. And he's never realised this, which makes, of course, everything hilarious. Charlie, on the other hand, his mother, sleeps with all the mall Santas. Like, all of them. And he only realises this during the episode. Tom, you're shaking your head. Which proves for an incredibly hilarious and ridiculous, for some reason, gory scene when Charlie visits a mall Santa and goes completely ape on him.
Saved by the Bell. There was a 2-part Christmas episode. Zach was in the mall, and he met this girl named Laura, who was beautiful, and he of course liked her because he's Zach Morris, who likes all the girls. She worked with Kelly in a men's fashion store. Now, later in the episode, he meets this older gentleman in the bathroom, finds out he's homeless, gives him money, acts very nice. It's all nice stuff. But later in the episode, this homeless man collapses. Him and Slater save this guy's life. It was, rousing stuff. But in the hospital, they go to visit this older man. He finds the girl that he likes, and it's Laura, and he finds out she's his daughter. She's also homeless. And the rest of, I know it's old, but the rest of the episode deals with him trying to help her. He gets her in this Christmas play, which is very sweet. She works, I work for this kind of like a stereotypical Grinch kind of boss who doesn't want to let her in the play, but Zach works out a deal to plug his store if she can be in the Christmas play. And in the episode, she gets accused of stealing something she didn't steal. At the end of the episode, Zach's family, his mother, offers her and her homeless father a place to stay for them to help get back on their feet. And I've always felt heartwarming stories like that have always gotten to me. So that's definitely one that has always stuck with me, because what I do for the company I work for, what we do for a living, we give equipment to homeless shelters, to low-income families. So later in life, it struck a chord with me. But that was a Christmas episode I always did love growing up, even though it's from way back, like 91. That's the heartwarming episode I love. But on the flip side, the other Christmas episode I wanted to talk about, Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. There was an episode called All Through the House, Season 1. Santa Claus, who escaped from a mental, crazy institution, and he stalks this wife who had just murdered her husband and her daughter, and it scared the bejesus out of me when I was young. It was terrifying. I think the Santa Claus was played by Larry Drake, if I recall, who played Dr. Giggles. He passed away, unfortunately, but it was so terrifying, and it always stuck with me. It made me happy at times that Santa wasn't coming to my house, but it stayed with me for even now. I think back, I think it's still my favorite Tales from the Crypt episode, which was really adored.
Ho, 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 kiddies. Just your old pal, the Crypt Keeper, having a little holiday fun. Why else would I be in this getup? Unless there was a clause in my contract.
It's from Tales from the Crypt when Larry Drake played the psychotic Santa Claus.
Nice.
Nice. We had Eric Monroe say the same thing.
Right on.
It's clearly a good episode for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish that show made a comeback, but I want them to keep everything as campy.
It's getting a reboot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's coming back.
That's good news.
Yes.
I know that they still do comics for Tales from the Crypt because at Tate's Comics, which I was talking about earlier, they have a whole horror section, and there's tons of Tales from the Crypt in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look. All right. We need to figure out. Oh, you know what we could do? You have some paint and Christmas tree lights, and we can do the Stranger Things. And
I saw these two. One from my childhood years and one after being a teenager. The childhood one is the episode of Marsh Be Not Proud from The Simpsons. I really like that episode because it also explores Christmas, but the first time I watched it, I didn't see the Christmas factor. I saw the factor that Bart steals a video game.
I don't think this is the kind of coat that opens.
Please step back in the store, sir.
That boy's parents must have made some terrible mistakes.
Shut up, Mom!
Oh, how marketing controls Bart to do that, because you have the necessity, because everybody is playing it. And Marsh cannot buy that game because it's expensive. And so I really like how Bart, he's so afraid to go back to the store, and how he tries to not to see his image be torn when her mother knows the truth about he stole the game. And also, there's a lot of beautiful scenes in that episode, but my favorite one is when Bart comes back to the house, and then everybody says, "Oh my God, you stole again!" And then he shows the perfect picture and with the ticket. I always cry during that episode, and it's a beautiful episode. The other one, I know that many of us, many of you hate The Big Bang Theory. I liked it when it was good. I only watch it because of Sheldon and Amy. One of my favorite episodes is the Christmas episode, when Sheldon knows that he's gonna receive a gift from Penny. So Sheldon, he doesn't know how to do human things. So he has the necessity to buy a gift for Penny. So he doesn't know what he's gonna get her. So he buys a lot of stuff in Bath and Body Works and a lot of different gifts. And so depending on the value that she gives back, she gives to him, he's gonna give that value. And so I love that ending, because when Penny gives her gift, it's a napkin signed by Leonard Nimoy, and then Sheldon cries, and then he gets like a lot of stuff on the bad items. It's a beautiful episode.
We'll just skip this
No.
one.
Raul asked us, what holiday movie that was made after the year 2000 do you think is destined to become a holiday classic?
After the year 2000? I think we might have the same answer.
We probably do.
It's probably Elf.
Yes. Which I still need to finish that article that I wrote about it.
Is it about the John version of Elf?
Are we having him?
No, it's not. It's not that one. That would be cool.
But no, Elf is fantastic, because I mean, just from the get-go, it's beautifully designed. Everything feels like one of those old 1960s classics, and it's got a lot of new stuff in it.
It has a lot of nods to those, like the classic Christmas movies as well, but it's just like a heartfelt story, and a lot of kids that were, really little when that movie came out, because they do exist, they're in my class right now. Like, that is nostalgic to them, and they really love that movie. I played that for one of my classes this past week, because, it's week before Christmas. It's, now it's officially movie time. You would think kids would be on their phone during a movie. They were all watching it, and we're laughing along, and we were talking about it. It's just a fun movie, and just to see, like, Will Ferrell as this giant elf, and his culture shock, and he doesn't really fit in where he comes from. He doesn't fit in here. His family, his new family, they don't know what to do with him. Everybody needs to learn something, and they learn it by the end. And there's the magic of Christmas and the Christmas spirit and people believing. And, it's just a fun little movie.
My family hates Will Ferrell, and this is a movie they can still all agree on watching.
Elf is pure joy, and I think that that's what you need in a good Christmas movie. It's just like sweet and fun the whole way through. The cast is great, and Brian does Character Corner on his show, the DVD Bunker on the TUFF channel. And I'm gonna do a shout out to Peter Dinklage.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Oh my God, he's so fantastic.
So I suggest you wipe that stupid smile off your face before I come over there and smack it off. You feeling strong, my friend? Call me Elf one more time.
He's an angry elf.
For many people, that would be their first introduction to him. Mine was Death at a Funeral. The first one, he was really good in.
But it was just so funny to see him in doing that little cameo, and now since he's become such a big deal with Game of Thrones, it's even funnier to go back and see his part in that movie.
He's gone from an elf to an imp.
Yeah.
I see Elf every year now. It's on now. It's on right now on TV. So you know what? Elf is probably the answer. I think that one. Kind of appeals to everybody. If I had a negative about Elf, it's the beginning of the movie suggests that Santa Claus isn't real. and they cover it, but when my kids watch that, I always cringe because the guy suggests that Santa Claus isn't real. He's like, well, of course Santa Claus is real. But I'm like, don't even put that in a child's head. I'm not ready to spoil this for my kids.
Well, I'm sure there's kids like at school and stuff who are at different belief points. So if they hear it, like if someone naysaying it at school,
kids are dicks.
it might it might actually be preparing them for like, people are going to tell you Santa's not real. But
remember Elf, where they know that it's real? So Elf, I'll pick Elf.
Yeah, that's a really good choice for sure. Ironically, I think that me and Tom also have the same choice, something completely different.
Well, that's because it's the correct answer. But
Morgan will know what we're talking about. It's Krampus.
Yeah. We went and saw that. We had a gift certificate to the movies, and we're like, well, we both like Ben Wyatt, or Adam Scott's his real name.
Yeah.
Morgan thinks he looks like Chris Stuckman. I don't see it.
But Krampus is probably my favorite holiday-themed horror film. It balances comedy and horror really well. The cast is fun. Again, just super fun. And I, even though it is kind of dark, it's the type of movie I would watch with my family, for sure.
Practical effects.
Yeah, I love the way their Krampus looked. The freaking goat eyes are out of control awesome. It's just fun. I don't know what else to say about it.
If you want to hear everything I have to say about it, the guest that we're going to have on after Ashley and Joe, Morgan, he runs the Horror House podcast, and his most recent episode was all about Krampus. I made him watch it, and I may have overhyped it for him. I may have not. You should listen to it and check it out.
Nice.
Ashley and Joe already mentioned Elf, even though I don't particularly care for the film, because I don't like Will Ferrell in anything, so that's a problem. But yeah, while I do think Elf is undoubtedly going to become a classic, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that won't happen. But the one for me is actually, the one I've chosen isn't, again, it's not one I absolutely love. It came out in 2004, it's The Polar Express. The weird,
hot chocolate!
The weird animated one that I can't really look at for too long because it gives me a headache. With Tom Hanks playing about 14 characters. I think that has a really nice story to it, a really classic traditional Christmas story to it. And who doesn't love Tom Hanks?
With Krampus, because it's gonna be a classic for me. I already have seen it like 5 times.
Krampus. I saw it in the theater last year. Absolutely loved it. It's my It's like my favorite horror Christmas movie since like Silent Night, Deadly Night. I did like Jack Frost. I know you brought that up in your podcast with Morgan, but this was definitely my favorite. And the thing is, they added it on Cinemax like a month ago. And I didn't watch it because I wanted to wait till the holidays because I want to make it part of my holiday tradition every year. So I just watched it recently. And I had the same feeling I had in the theater. Absolutely adored it. It just has a charm to it. There's just like a certain kind of charm, a certain kind of... In a way, it has the Christmas spirit in it. It's just... I think it was a great movie. One of my favorites. And you have to appreciate films a lot of times for what they are. It was just a fun film, a fun horror comedy film, and I absolutely loved it. And that's definitely every single holiday season. And I know a lot of horror fans feel the same way, and they're also going to revisit it every single horror season. So I think that is definitely one that's going to become a classic.
Arthur Christmas. It came out in 2011. It's this animated film. It's a British-American film, and it stars James McAvoy. He is Arthur Christmas, who is the son of Santa Claus, and basically it's this... Christmas is like this machine, like on a conveyor belt sort of thing. And Santa, who is played by Jim Broadbent, who, if you know him, he does a lot of stuff. Like he's Slughorn in Harry Potter. He's...
That's Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's just this aging Santa that can't do his job anymore, and he misses one present, and it's just this bike for this girl, and Arthur is trying to get this present to this girl with the help of this elf that loves to wrap presents way too much and 8 reindeer. It's very nice adventure because there's not really a villain.
And that is the most beautiful thing about that movie. It doesn't have a villain. Because everything is about the family drama between the old Santa Claus, the present Santa Claus, and his 2 sons, Steve and Arthur.
Eric Monroe, who we're seeing in the chat now, also talking about festive horror. He sent us a question that says, what movie do you watch during the holidays every year?
Besides Elf?
Yeah, besides Elf.
Yeah, definitely Elf all the time.
Even when if she's off doing something, I'll put it on because she's never watched it with me, but I really love the movie Holiday Inn. It's a movie I grew up with. It's a classic in general, and even though it's not just about Christmas, it's about like all the holidays of the year. It's just a movie I watch every year for Christmas. I love it.
Christmas Vacation, that's been a family staple forever, even though like my grandmother like hates that movie because it has bad language in it, but my family didn't care about stuff like that. And like my dad is very much like Clark Griswold, where like he can be like over the top about stuff and be like unsafe about like the decorations and whatnot.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. My uncle watches it. He has it on VHS, and he'd bring it to our house every year, and we'd watch it together.
Nice.
Every year. And guess what was watching right now with my wife? That's the movie. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
You didn't see when Ashley and Joe are on, but you have very similar answers to Ashley and Joe.
Oh, do I really?
Yes.
Well, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is without a doubt my go-to. I love everything about that movie. I can quote that movie throughout. Every year there's tweets from me watching it. It is my favorite Christmas movie. There's just so many great things about that film. So, without a doubt for me, it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Scrooge.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. Go ahead.
Bill Murray's Scrooge. Modern adaptation of the Christmas Carol while also containing elements of the original Christmas Carol. Meta.
Funny. Ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Holds up.
I really like Scrooge from Bill Murray. It's a very funny movie. And everybody's gonna kill me. I had never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life because my emotions can only take that film once a year, and I only watched it for the first time like 3 years ago, but I have made a point of watching it every year since because it is just the most incredibly well made, beautifully acted. There's no film I don't think that's ever been made that is as emotional as It's a Wonderful Life. It makes me cry ridiculously.
Muppets Christmas Carol. It is a movie that I have watched every for pretty much as long as I can remember. I like to watch it on Christmas Eve because then there is only one more sleep till Christmas.
After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas Day.
Which I sing triumphantly and loudly for all the world to hear. I love that movie. Again, pure joy, super fun. Love Kermit. Love Rizzo. It's Rizzo hosting it. And
it's Rizzo and Gonzo, yeah.
I love that movie. It's awesome. I love
and
all the songs.
Marley and Marley are great.
Waldorf and Statler. Yeah. Marley and Marley.
Fozzie as Mr. Fozziewig, and then just of course Michael Caine as Scrooge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Robin as the little tiny Tib. Yeah. And my other choice is Edward Scissorhands.
Of course.
One of my favorite Christmas movies.
In this way, for like 20 Die Hard, I have to watch Die Hard every single year around the holiday time. it's a great action film, but underneath the action, there's a lot of heart to that film. I love, like, John McClane's relationship with Sergeant Al Pally, who was the cop, his friend who was talking to him from the outside, who, of course, was Carl Winslow on The Family Matters, who was also a cop, which is kind of a funny coincidence. And just the little moments with them, like talking in the bathroom, him talking about his wife, like, if I don't make it out of here, please tell my wife she's the best thing that ever happened to, like, a scumbag like me. And when the sergeant tells John McClane his story about how he accidentally shot someone who really wasn't armed, and he hasn't been able to bring himself to use his gun since, you know, just a lot of heartwarming stuff like that underneath the action, but the action is incredible.
Well, what a festive episode of Odd Shaped Panel. It brought some good cheer, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it was holly jolly, you know.
Yes, it certainly decked my halls.
Thanks for that. You win.
Yeah! Thank you, everyone, for coming by. Hope you all have been, you know, nice this year and get everything that you want, or maybe everything that you need. It's not all about what you want. Maybe sometimes some red guy in the sky knows what you need.
It's true.
And it could be cold, because maybe your furnace is dying. I have no idea where I'm going with this. It's the end of the night. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good night, everybody. Well, I'm gonna say that my favorite holiday TV episode is the Law and Order SVU, where they find the jogger in the middle of Central Park. You know the one. And he has like, he's stabbed so many times, and it's just ridiculous, and he's just like dead. Well, you know, I'm having this weird thing where my voice isn't quite distinct. And I feel like I'm in a Godzilla movie, so I'm going to recommend Godzilla. It came out, and it's great.